Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
And we made it to Wednesday here in the Sports IQ. Larry Smith with you. Glad you're along with us wherever you're joining us, be it radio, podcast, it doesn't matter. We're glad you're here. Another big show here coming up. It's funny. My name is Larry Smith. I'm used to, having a common name, right? But the name Matt Stevens, also you could say fairly common. Matthew's a common name. Stevens a common name. We happen to have two Matt Stevens on the show today. It's just the way it worked out. Matt Stevens, the former UCLA quarterback, a good friend of ours who now serves as the Bruins color man on their radio broadcast. He will join us in a few minutes here talking about the huge win at the Rose Bowl on Saturday. UCLA, formerly winless, taking on and knocking off the Goliath Penn State team coming in, knocking the Nittany Lions from the top 10 all the way out of the AP poll. Kind of crazy there. We'll talk more about that and how that's kind of rejuvenated this program. All of a sudden, there's life out there at UCLA. The other Matt Stevens is with the Illini guys, and he'll be talking about another big game here this weekend of the Big Ten. One that's been on Brett Bielema's calendar really since they got that Citrus Bowl win last January. Illinois, number 17, taking on top-ranked Ohio State. We'll also hear from the Buckeyes' Kevin Noon of BuckeyesHuddle.com here in just a moment. So a lot of stuff going on. We got a great moment of awe coming up a bit later as well. There you go. Have to share just a real crazy story before we get to headlines, just because this is just so bizarre. So, I'm a news anchor in Kentucky, and there is a rural sheriff who last year got his second DUI in less than a year when he allegedly, police say that he drove a tractor in downtown in the town where he's sheriff and tipped over the tractor downtown, and therefore got his second DUI in a year. And he pled all for plea, which means I'm not pleading guilt, but there's enough evidence here probably to convict me. So he did that. Well, he was just arrested with a third DUI in the past 48 hours. So a sheriff in rural Kentucky, 3 DUIs in 2 years. Talk amongst yourselves. I know nothing about sports. Just had to get that out there. One of these things, as I'm reading the story, I'm like, wait a minute, this guy did it again? So anyway, alleged DUI. But anyway, there you go. Don't drink and drive. Whether you're an elected official or not, don't drink or drive. Okay, let's get back to what you came here for, and that is some sports headlines, starting with Major League Baseball playoffs. Aaron Judge, will go down as one of the great Yankees, but his place in Yankee lore will never be complete until they win a title. Well, last night in the Bronx, Judge adding a piece to that lore, which he hopes will lead to that first championship. The Blue Jays got off to the fast start Tuesday night with the big 6-1 lead, but the Yankees then began their comeback in the third. Judge delivering a double to left to score Trent Grisham. New York adding another run in the third to cut it to 6-3. Then in the fourth, Judge striking again, a 3-run bomb that clanged off the left field foul pole that tied the game at 6. Jazz Chisholm then gave the Yankees a lead as they would not give up with the shot in the fifth. New York goes on to win Game 3 and stave off elimination at 9-6, and so they now are down in that series to Toronto 2-1. Now, rookie right-hander Cam Schlittler will take the mound tonight for New York, coming off that dominant performance in the winner-take-all wildcard series game against rival Boston last Thursday at Yankee Stadium. Now, Toronto will go with a bullpen game. They're going to save, the starter they want for Game 5. We'll talk more about that here coming up in a bit. In the other American League Series, the Mariners take another step towards getting to the ALCS for the first time in 24 years. Cal Raleigh with the 2-run homer. Eugenio Suarez and J.P. Crawford each had solo shots. Seattle over Detroit 8-4. So the Mariners now have a 2-1 lead in that series. So they have 2 shots now to eliminate the Tigers, beginning with Game 4 this afternoon in Detroit. By the way, in the National League, they had a travel day yesterday, so they resume both with Game 3s today. Milwaukee can close out the series at Chicago today, and then later tonight, the late game on the West Coast, the Dodgers up 2-0, the defending champs trying to sweep the Phillies in a battle of division winners. Now, in the NFL, you don't see many in-season trades, right, like you do in other major sports, but a very interesting one coming on Tuesday. Cincinnati going to a division rival, the Browns, and picking up a quarterback to help them while starter Joe Burrow was out with that turf toe injury. I know Bengal fans, you're wondering, hey, which two Browns rookies did we get? Well, neither. Dylan Gabriel started now the starter in Cleveland, and now Shedeur Sanders is his backup as Cincinnati decided to take Joe Flacco instead to be their starter. Look, the Bengals it wasn't working with Jake Browning since Joe Burrow went down 2-0 under Burrow, but since Browning took over, he's completed just 64% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. His passer rating is 70.7, so he ranks 37th out of 38 NFL quarterbacks this season in passer rating. Now, don't get too charged up if you're a Bengals fan. In his last 3 starts with Cleveland, Flacco completing just 53% of his passes, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. His quarterback rating lower than Browning's, 47.7, but they're hoping to be able to get the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and revive whatever magic that is left there in Jolton Joe's arm. Joe Flacco, once one of the great quarterbacks in the league, but at the tail end of his career. But again, Cincinnati had to do something. It was not happening. Another woeful performance in the loss at home to the Lions on Sunday, and so now they will see if the veteran Joe Flacco can make a difference for them. College football, things just keep getting crazier in Chapel Hill. Not only are the Tar Heels only 2-3 under first-year coach Bill Belichick, the NFL legend, but they now have suspended one of his assistants. Quarterbacks coach Armand Hawkins suspended by the school amid allegations that the program awarded impermissible benefits to players, as according to Athletics' Bruce Feldman. Among the alleged extra benefits were sideline passes given to players' family members in violation of NCAA rules. Tar Heel fans, you having fun yet? Ugh. Finally, NHL season getting underway last night. 3 games, including the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers, taking the Blackhawks. Florida comes away with a 3-2 win in this one. Panthers also raised their second straight banner to the rafters last night. So big stuff there. Okay, let's get to college football. We talked about, again, one of the games we're watching this weekend, and there are a lot of them, is in the Big Ten. Number 1, Ohio State is at 17th ranked Illinois. And we'll talk more again with Matt Stevens of Illini Guys here later on here in the show. But we do want to hear from Kevin Noon of Buckeye Huddle. Kevin, good friend of the show. Boy, I've known Kevin since his days. He was an intern at CNN back when I was a sports anchor at CNN. That's how far back we go. I remember him from way back then. He now does a great job covering the Buckeyes and Ohio State sports for BuckeyeHuddle.com. He talked with our colleague, Mike Cagley of the Illini Guys on the Eye on the Illini podcast. And one of the first things he talked about really overall was just this team right now who they have just this defense and this team coming off last year's national championship. They retooled here in the offseason, and they have looked almost unstoppable here in the first part of the season. Let's listen into part of that conversation.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the numbers the defense is putting up, it's easy to say, well, they haven't even played 6 games yet this year. But Ohio State's played Texas. Ohio State's played Washington. All right, Texas is out of the top 25. But, it's not like Ohio State has gotten fat and happy on a bunch of directional schools. Sure, Grambling State is in the mix, but you're giving up 5 points a game. Ohio State is, they're just taking care of business. They've given up zero rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. I mean, when you can sit there and remember each touchdown that Ohio State has given up this year, that's pretty special. And they're getting it done at all 3 levels. So it's not, it's not just Caleb Downs or no, it's just, Arvell Reese or whatever. I mean, it's at every level. So Matt Patricia, who any Detroit Lions fan would sit there and just scoff at the idea of him being anywhere near a football field. Ohio State fans are quite happy with what this defense is.
Yeah, and the funny thing is as I watched or I was reading an article today, somebody was trying to figure out what the weakness of the Buckeyes was. And so the only thing they could find statistically is short yardage plays on offense. And I'm like, well, there's something. I don't think Illinois wants to give them a bunch of short yardage plays, but hey, any port in a storm, I guess.
Ohio State's run offense has not been great. I mean, I think they have like 14 touchdowns. Bo Jackson, the true freshman, not that Bo Jackson, a different Bo Jackson, true freshman. He seems to have emerged now as kind of the first running back, but Ohio State keeps getting too cute. And we've seen this years past. of where they're just not getting it done. And I really kind of put it at the feet of the running backs. I don't think that the run blocking has been terrible. Oh, yeah, there have been some moments that haven't been right, but these are college kids. You're not going to execute like NFL players, just by design. But yeah, I would say that maybe Ohio State's biggest shortcoming is inconsistency in special teams. But that's just a matter of, if you're Ohio State, just just fair catch your kickoffs and your punt returns, and just let the offense go and do what it needs to do. You got Julian Sayin, you got Jeremiah Smith, you've got Carnell Tate, you've got these guys. Utilize them. Don't put the ball on the ground. Ohio State, in terms of field goal kicking, they're 4 or 5 on the year. Jaden Fielding been pretty accurate. I mean, he had a chance to kick a 53-yarder. It had more than enough to go from 60, but the aim just wasn't quite there. I wouldn't say that Ohio State's going to win a lot of games on 50-yard field goal tries. So there you go. You can add that. You can add that to the conversation of what Ohio State, maybe doesn't do perfectly.
Kevin Noon going on to talk about the new quarterback with so many guys in the NFL. Julian Sayin is now at quarterback there, first-year starter, former Alabama commit. And he has really, again, has carried the mail here early on, as well as this offense, too, with the running game not going quite as well as they would have liked. But here's Kevin Noon talking about not just only Sayin's play, but also the running game and the issues they have right now in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, he's close to an 80% passer, 13, 14 touchdowns, a couple of interceptions. I think that Ohio State is still bringing him on a little slowly, which is fine. It's fine to do that. But, he can make all the throws. When you have Carnell Tate and you have Jeremiah Smith, it's easy to look pretty good. I mean, if he was out there trying to do it with, I don't know, let's just say the Penn State wide receivers, his numbers wouldn't be as good. And, I don't have any issue with the Penn State wide receivers in a vacuum, but as a unit with Drew Allar, they haven't been very good. So, I think that there's a lot to like there. I think Julian Sayin will continue to get better as the season goes on. I would much rather face him earlier in the season than later in the season, just because of the fact of, he's starting to stack games together. He's thrown for 300 yards in 4 of the last 5 games. The only one he didn't was Washington, and they really kind of kept him locked up at that point. And, and that was very real. I mean, they're younger. They pick up CJ Donaldson from West Virginia. I mean, you have James Peoples, who kind of was the understudy, and then you have Bo Jackson. But last year you had Quinshon Judkins, who's getting it done for the Cleveland Browns, and you have Trevion Henderson, who's seeing time for the New England Patriots. So you can't take 2 NFL running backs off your roster and say, we're even better than we were last year. Exactly. I mean, that would just be irresponsible.
Even Ohio State can't do that.
No, you can't. With that being said, I think that they're plenty talented. I just think that they're not executing at the level that they need to. But, this could be the game where Bo Jackson finally breaks one. I think that he's been close. And I think that even James Peoples, who was your starter game 1, who kind of now is kind of like, 2A, he had some nice carries toward the end of the game against Minnesota. Again, that was against a demoralized Minnesota team at the end of the game. But confidence is such a huge part of this, and I think getting a little bit of confidence helped.
Once again, that is Kevin Noon talking here on the Eye on the Illini podcast. You can hear that entire conversation on that podcast. Thanks again to Mike Kegley and the Illini guys for that. So we've got much more to come. Again, we will talk, speaking of Illini guys, we'll talk with Matt Stevens more on the Illini side of things as they try to erase that bad taste of Indiana, 3 weeks ago. Can they pull off the upset at home in front of a packed stadium? This is, again, just like with Indiana, these are salad days, man, for the Illini, right? You just don't have the possibility of back-to-back 10-win seasons. Like, that's possible, even if they lose on Saturday. I don't know what to make of that. It's just Illinois football doesn't do that. But anyway, we'll talk with him about that. Also, we'll talk with UCLA's Matt Stevens up next, and a bit later, we'll get more into the baseball. We'll talk to producer Tony about just this Toronto pitching thing. What are they doing? It's a busy show today, and we're glad you're here with us on the Sports IQ, and we continue up next.
Fans of big sports radio and sports spectacular podcasts have a new home on the Chief Sports Network. Find your favorite programs and content all in one place by downloading the Chief Sports app in your mobile device. Created in South Carolina, the Chief Sports Network is the home of an expanding network of live and podcast format programming. It is also the home of one of the leading national college football podcasts, JC and Morgan, hosted by ESPN's Mike Morgan and 24/7 Sports' JC Sherbert. Download the Chief Sports app for free and find all of your favorite programming under one easy umbrella. Thanks to all of our markets for your loyal support of Big Sports Radio and our Sports Spectacular podcast, and we look forward to connecting with you anywhere in the world on the Chief Sports app.
Attention travelers. Next Tuesday, a major hurricane will cause complete chaos throughout the city. Food, water, and phone service will be in short supply. There will likely be panic citywide. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Well, it's midweek. We are still buzzing about last weekend of the Rose Bowl. UCLA, a 24.5-point underdog, shocking the world. Maybe the biggest upset this decade, possibly. Right there, front row, had a great seat. Our friend joining us once again, Matt Stevens. He is the color commentator for UCLA Bruins football. Matt, I mean, we were joking in the break here. You knew this was going to happen, right? I mean, this was assured.
I totally called it. Yeah, no. I was satisfied, with the 10-0 lead in the first quarter, and the Bruins could have blown it. I would have been fine with that because the Bruins hadn't scored in the first quarter in the first 4 games. So, but I mean, what a difference that Jerry Newhouser made as an offensive coordinator, and also Tim Skipper, the interim coach for UCLA. I think UCLA might have already found their head coach.
Yeah, they look like it. Well, I mean, just from where. We would get you're there for every single snap. For us, it looked like a different team from the one that really struggled in the first 3 games under Deshaun Foster. For you, what's the biggest difference you saw on Saturday compared to the first 4 games of the season?
Well, I think the running game, number one for UCLA, they were using the running backs, Javion Thomas and Anthony Woods, and they were calling actual running plays to these guys. They were really devoted to getting them over 15 carries, and that took all the pressure off Imaliava, the quarterback for UCLA. And then the play calling by running the ball, they could do play action. And, the offensive line looked like they knew what they were doing. They had a plan, and they could also get in a 3-point stance and fire out and start blowing people off the line of scrimmage. It was just well coordinated, well orchestrated. The offense just seemed like it was totally different. And then now you see Imaliava, how good he is. I mean, I'm calling him Lamar XL. I mean, Lamar Jackson, because he throws like him. He can run. And then Imaliava, he ran when the pocket broke down. He wasn't running RPOs the entire game. So it took a lot of pressure off him.
Yeah, and there's no question. He looks like this is the guy we saw last year, at Tennessee, the way he came through. And what I was really amazed as well is that all this, the coaching staff had about 2 days to put this package together. I mean, this was not like you made it. They had a whole week or 2 weeks. I mean, you had a matter of days to put this together, and it was nothing's ever perfect, but it was very, very good.
There were people that went to the Friday walkthrough for UCLA, and the walkthrough was a catastrophe. They said they had too many men on the field, not enough men on the field. There were substitution problems. People were yelling at each other. It was just confusion. And everybody thought it was going to be a disaster that saw that Friday walkthrough. And somehow they got it together, and they were very organized. And that's another thing that Tim Skipper's doing. UCLA was committing so many penalties, mistakes, and it was all corrected that Saturday. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, back to what you said a moment ago. It's amazing what you can accomplish, though, when you just do the simple things like run the football.
Yeah. I mean, that was really the key. I mean, UCLA's got some guys. I mean, there's some talent on that football team. And if they just, get them in the right spot, give them an opportunity, they're going to do well. And defensively, too, they've changed personnel. And that was one thing that Tim Skipper said. We're going to play everybody. I don't care who you are on the bench. You're a freshman, senior. We're going to get people in. We're going to find out what's going to work. And they've done that defensively. They've played some young, true freshmen. And it's a lot more speed coming from the outside. They've also, changed guys around in positions. Yeah, it's just they hit the red button. That's what I say when you're in trouble. Hit the red button, reset, and that's what Tim Skipper and the staff have done.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so now it's funny that a team that was 0-4, and boy, we were talking about, I think we had on the show, no Bruin teams ever gone winless, if I'm not mistaken. And now all of a sudden,
You are correct.
Yeah, I mean, now that one win, it's like, wait a minute. Well, you look at the schedule. There's some winnable games here. I mean, you got Indiana, you got Ohio State, but there's a shot now to get to 6 wins and get to a bowl and salvage what looked like to be a lost season.
Well, I mean, number one, Imaliava, he's top player in the country, and so you can really rally around him. And there's a lot of talent around him now that I think the guys can see. But when you have a marquee player like him, it really helps your confidence. He can score at any time, and he's a big leader. And the best part about him, he's so competitive. I mean, I've never seen a more competitive guy in my entire life. And it just really transcends down to the other players. So I think that's a really good thing.
And I think to your point, I mean, here's a guy who has, been to the highest level, quarterbacked his team into the college football playoff last year. Now he's there with you. What's the change in the locker room compared to last week? 0-4, all the changes, coaches, whatever. You come off this big win now. We talk about culture and attitude. It's got to be a different feel there in practice this week heading into the game here against Michigan State.
In all my years of broadcasting, I've never gone down to the locker room after a game and congratulated players. And I did after this game, and it was electric. I mean, these guys were pumped up, and they really appreciated the support they had during the game and after the game. And I think it's a real changing moment for UCLA football, where they now believe in each other. They've had a lot of confidence, and they stuck together. But I think now they're like, hey, you know what you just said, we can win some games.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk with Matt Stevens. Once again, he's a color commentator for UCLA football, former UCLA quarterback as well, we should mention. So big game this week heading. We talk with you guys all the time on the West Coast in terms of like we knew what we were signing up for, right, when you guys came into the Big Ten. But here we are. You just went to Northwestern a couple of weeks ago. Now you're heading back to Midwest again to take on Michigan State. What is that like right now for these teams having to constantly change coasts like that and time zones and play in what's a noon Eastern kick, which is 9 a.m. your body clock time?
Well, the good thing for UCLA, they've decided to go out on Thursdays instead of Fridays. So they're going to get acclimated. And, it's a new kickoff, so their body will adjust. I know it's 9 o'clock on their body, but going out on Thursday is really the big deal. And getting in that time zone, going to the stadium, seeing where you're going to play. So that's the key. And then coming back, you pick up those 3 hours. So it's not that bad at all.
Yeah. You've got the Spartans coming up right now. What do you think? We've discussed some things that were different. How does Tim Skipper and this coaching staff and this team, how do they take what they gained this last weekend and apply it to what the Spartans are going to present in East Lansing on Saturday?
Well, I think UCLA defensively is going to go after Aiden Childs, the quarterback. Put a lot of pressure on them. It's a young receiving core. They have some veterans, though, but they're still trying to find their groove, but put pressure on them. And the Spartans, they like to control the clock. UCLA would like to change that picture. I mean, they had the ball for 39 minutes against Penn State. I mean, it was just incredible. Penn State never really had the ball. And if you think about the amount of time they had the ball and the points they put up offensively, they did well. So I think put pressure on Michigan State offensively and then sustain drives. That's the key. And when you have a running quarterback like Iamaleava, when it's 3rd and 5 and things break down, he can take off. And now you're Michigan State, are you going to spy him? You have to in a way. So that's going to be one less guy dropping into coverage. And we're seeing UCLA do a lot of other things with their wide receivers, getting them into the game, playing other guys. They're doing that offensively as well. So I think UCLA is in a good spot, and they're going to have a good game plan.
Yeah. It's exciting now. They have some things to look forward to. I mean, after a big win like that, really quick, you mentioned about, they may have found their next head coach in Tim Skipper. He's the interim right now. Do you think that the administration and the higher ups will poll the players and kind of get their input in terms of give them a chance to sound off in regards to keeping Skipper on next year?
Martin Traumon really talks to the players a lot. That's one of the things he does, and I'm sure they're going to be able to voice their opinion. I'm rooting for Tim Skipper. One thing about Tim Skipper, he's a positive guy. He is not afraid to make changes. He's not afraid to sit people. If you make a penalty and you cause a problem on the field, he's going to pull you. He does all the right things, and he's great with the media. I mean, just unbelievably good. He's honest, candid, and it's refreshing, I think, for UCLA. Deshaun Foster, Chip Kelly, they had their different style when it came to the media. It was always sort of them against the media, and it was sort of confrontational. Tim Skipper is the exact opposite. And you need to promote not only your team, your head coach, and your players. And that's what Tim Skipper's doing.
Yeah. And this as well as I do. We go through this all the time, that it just gets so rote when you get the same coach speak and week after week. And like you said, just be honest. Let's just have some fun with this and talk about it. And that would be refreshing to have that there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, everybody's all scared to have the media come out and watch your practice. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, the other teams are watching film and everything. They know what you're going to do. The media, they don't even really know the difference between a blast and a sweep. And that's, no, I'm not poking fun at the media, but I mean, they're not going to give away any kind of secrets.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It didn't hurt to come in and watch for 15, 20 minutes. Like you said, there's nothing that, and at this point, mid-season, like you said, there's nothing that, and you're not, if you have a media session Monday or Tuesday, you're not putting in your package, you're not finalizing your package till Thursday anyway. So, I mean, to your point.
Yeah. Well, buy him lunch, get him on your side. That's the key.
There you go. Exactly. Well, things are happy right now in LA, and we love it. Matt, we appreciate your time as always. Good to talk with you as some positive news, and good luck this weekend, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. Matt Stevens once again joining us. He is the UCLA Bruins color man for radio out there. The Bruins, the big win over Penn State, and now they try to make it 2 in a row as they take Michigan State this weekend. All right, we've got more to come. It's the Sports IQ. Keep it here.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. That's 800-507-7293.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-715-6093. 800-715-6093. That's 800-715-6093.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Big game there this weekend. There are a lot of them, and one of them is in the Big Ten. Number 1, Ohio State at 17th ranked Illinois. And joining us once again on the show, Matt Stevens. He's the Illini Guys senior football writer and analyst for IlliniGuys.com. Matt, good to talk to you again. So which Illinois team are we looking at here this weekend? The one that got boat raced at Indiana a few weeks ago, or the one that came back a couple of weeks ago and battled a decent USC team and got the win 34-32 and just put up 43 points on Purdue?
Well, I think there's a lot of hope that you're seeing the latter, Larry, because, I mean, if you look at, like, say, what Penn State did after their double overtime loss at home against Oregon in the whiteout game, and then they go to the Rose Bowl and lose, James Franklin's talking about how they emotionally still couldn't get over that double overtime loss. Well, Illinois did a really good job of rallying and getting over that 53-point loss in Bloomington, having Big Noon kickoff the next week and being able to take down USC at home the way they did. And I think that they've galvanized themselves, and at 5-1 right now, they feel pretty good about where they stand, especially offensively. And I think that what you might see on Saturday, at least if you're Brett Bielema, is you have one of the more confident offensive units in the Big Ten going up against one of the most confident and talented defensive units in the Big Ten. And we'll see which one gives, right? And so that's where I think you stand with this. And I think that if you're Brett Bielema, you feel like, you put up 43 against Purdue, you put up 34 against USC, you put up over 40 at Duke on the road. You feel like all of these things are leading toward, that 14.5 point spread being probably accurate, but also not exactly a, unclimbable mountain. And so I feel like if Brett Bielema kind of said on Monday this week, Larry, that if we do what we're supposed to do and we play to our identity, we can take down number one. And we have a routine what we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before a game, even Saturday morning before a game, that allows us to feel like number one isn't all that daunting. And so that has to be what Illinois has to, mentally get itself into. And I had a lot of questions about where this season was going after, experiencing what I saw in Bloomington, now 3 weeks ago. But in classic Brett Bielema form, Larry, we talked about it, I think the next week, is that they just don't usually put up two stinkers, and they usually get themselves right in the way that they do things. And I think that they've done that. And so it's pretty impressive to be 5-1. And I think that Ohio State has to take them seriously, just like they have, the road when they went into Seattle and took Washington seriously and kind of grinded out a win that way. I think that's what Ohio State's expecting in Champaign on Saturday afternoon.
Talking about the offense, looking at Luke Altmyer's numbers, the fifth-year quarterback out of Mississippi in his third year as a starter, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think he's the only Power 4 starting quarterback without a pick this year. I probably just jinxed him. But his play is so steady. 19 of 22, I think I saw you right, in Saturday's game, and a couple of those were receiver drops. I mean, how good is he right now, and why isn't he? I guess if Illinois pulls off the upset, he's part of the Heisman conversation if he has a good game, but it's amazing that he's not getting more buzz nationally.
What's funny, Larry, is that not only is he not getting any buzz, like with the Heisman, you and I talked about this as I left the box at Purdue, where he goes for almost 400 in 22 passing attempts. And it's almost seemed like, well, yeah, that's what Luke does, right? He doesn't have a turnover this year, Larry. Not only does he not have a pick, he doesn't have a turnover. Like, wow. The way that Illinois is operating efficiently on offense has everything to do with how he is in sync with Barry Lunny Jr., the offensive coordinator, who's in his third year with Luke, and Brett Bielema, who's in his third year with Luke. All of those things being in sync have allowed Luke to shine the way he has. But Larry, the Big Ten has so many good quarterbacks. I walked out of Purdue telling somebody, it's still going to be hard for Luke to be an all Big Ten quarterback, believe it or not, because you've got Fernando Mendoza, you've got Jonte Moore, and Julian Sayin is coming to Champaign, and he's on a really good momentum kick right now as a confidence builder in his first year as a starter. Bryce Underwood and all the hype that came from his freshman year at Michigan, he continues to get better and better. You have a quarterback league like the Big Ten right now where Luke Altmyer kind of gets lumped into the mix, believe it or not, in all of these things. And I feel like it's still going to be hard. You have 3 quarterbacks that end up being all Big Ten by the end of the year. And it's going to be a battle for Luke to even get an all Big Ten selection, let alone get into the New York conversation for the Heisman. And I don't think he really thinks about it that way. But the fact of the matter is, Larry, is that if Illinois is going to be even competitive against this Ohio State team, against this defense, Luke Altmyer is going to have to be at his best. And everybody in Champaign and everybody in the Smith Center building in Champaign-Urbana understands that. But they feel like they have a veteran quarterback who has so many starts under his belt. They feel like that the possibility of that happening is very, very likely.
Talking with Matt Stevens of the Illini Guys, football writer and analyst for Illinois, the IlliniGuys.com. To your point, Matt, I just looked up the stats. The top 5 rated quarterbacks in the country are all in the Big Ten.
All Big Ten, yeah.
That's insane. That is insane. And Altmyer's 4th in that. Dante Moore's 5th. Mendoza, Sayin, and Jaden
Jaden Maeva is still going to put up 400 yards a game for USC, no matter what they do on defense. So, I mean, you have so many quarterbacks that are going to be left out of the all Big Ten Ten discussion, let alone an All-America discussion. It's just a very, very quarterback-rich league right now in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and that's funny. That's not usually the case. Usually, it's you're running in defense, but the great passing players, no question. Speaking of the defense, this is one that is the only defense much maligned of giving up more than 400 yards in back-to-back games. But the turnovers, I think I saw where they lead the Big Ten in takeaways, like 7 or 8 already this year, or 7.
Yeah, the analysts, I go to the FCA meeting, the Football Coaches Association meetings, pretty annually, Larry, and they have these analytics discussions about turnover luck. And the reason they have those at the FCA meetings, Larry, is that the coaches get really peeved at the idea of turnover luck because it's learned behavior. If you watch the Illinois defenders, when they get the 5 turnovers against Duke, 4 of those are forced fumbles because they're punching the ball out because it's learned behavior of things they do in practice. If you saw the Purdue game, Dylan Rosiak gets a punch out. Even Ashton Hollins, a wide receiver who's the gunner on special teams, knows to punch the ball out of a returner because that's learned behavior. It's not turnover luck. They are forcing, turnovers in an aggressive manner, and they play to that, Larry, is that Aaron Henry and Brett Bielema will tell you right now, the way that we play defense right now, especially with all Big Ten, defensive back Xavier Scott likely out for the rest of the year after having ankle surgery, their secondary is in a position right now where we're going to give up yards. Like, we're going to play and keep everything in front of us. Our hope is that we can either get a negative play like a sack or a turnover or a tackle for a loss and put you in a 3rd and long situation so we can get off the field. They had 3 3-and-outs. Actually, they forced Purdue into 3 3-and-out drives on Saturday, or we get a turnover. And that's that. The coaches all talk now about if we can stretch the defensive coaches at these analytic meetings for turnovers. They talk about, Larry, if we can stretch these drives, these offensive drives out like 9, 10, 11, 14 plays, offensive consistency is not there anymore because of the transfer portal, because rosters get flipped over. There's no continuity anymore, at least to start this season. And so if drives go longer and you're forced to, run more plays, there's more of a likelihood that one of those plays is going to go really badly for you and go really well for the defense. And so defenses kind of play that way. You saw, you've seen Aaron Henry talk about, we played USC and we kept them under their 40-point average because they only had 6 possessions. And the reason they only had 6 possessions is we forced them to go on 12-play drives to at least get a score. So Illinois is going to do this, patient, I don't want to call it a prevent defense, but it's a keep everything in front of us defense. It really irritates this fan base because they really like to see aggressive defense. But what they're going through right now in the secondary, they just don't feel like they can run Buddy Ryan's 46, defense right now and all out blitz because they're going to get, a 60-yarder over the top. What Illinois' defense has to really worry about is these chunk plays that they're giving up and the missed tackles. The missed tackles has been a complete disaster over the last month for Aaron Henry. He's got to get that figured out. Brett Bielema talked about on Monday, we're going to give up plays. We're going to give up yards. But when the ball's caught or the ball gets out on the perimeter, we have to get them down. And that's going to be the key for when they play Ohio State. When Jeremiah Smith catches his passes, and he's going to, and when Carnell Tate catches his passes, and he's going to, they have to be tackled immediately. And if you see that happening for Illinois, it might be a really, really good Saturday. If you see them breaking tackles and getting out in the open field, it's going to be a long day for Aaron Henry's defense.
So what I think I'm hearing is this Illinois defense is that the numbers are a bit deceiving. And to your point, that Indiana 63-10 loss they suffered, that still is a number that just is mind-boggling. Illinois' offense suffered a lot of 3-and-outs. They never got going, and therefore the defense was always on the field. And the Hoosiers just ran it down their throats or threw it down their throats, whatever the case is. But bottom line, it felt like in watching that, it was a prime time game that it was, Indiana scored every time they had the ball, pretty much.
Well, the numbers aren't deceiving in Bloomington. The Indiana scored a touchdown on its last 7 possessions. Yeah. Right? That was not deceiving. And quite frankly, the numbers really aren't deceiving. Illinois is in the bottom of the Big Ten in terms of total defense. They don't really care about the total defense stat. They care about points. Illinois, after 63 points given up in Bloomington, Illinois is also in the bottom of the Big Ten in points. They need to figure that out. What I'm telling you, Larry, and what I've run this week on IlliniGuys.com almost has the Aaron Henry advocate, is that if you look at the numbers, Larry, even if you want to use total defense, if you want to use points, if you want to use any kind of analytic number, they're kind of actually, believe it or not, even after giving up 63 in Bloomington, the numbers are kind of in line with how the defense played in 2024 this past season. And they won 9 regular season games doing that. So no, do they have the defense that they had in 2022, where it was number 1 in the country, and they had Devin Witherspoon and Quan Martin and Sidney Brown all get drafted out of their secondary in the NFL? No, they don't. But they don't have that kind of secondary personnel. So what they did in 2024 was, kind of keep everything in front of us and play a very, very conservative type of defense. And they won 9 games doing that. The numbers on defense right now are very, very close to what Illinois was putting up in 2024. And I think that if Illinois can improve, I don't know, like 10 or 15, maybe 20% on what they're doing right now on defense, as they continue to get healthier in the secondary and they get more confidence up front, I think you could see, an uptick in Illinois. But right now, I challenge anybody right now to look at me and say, if the defense was 50% better and Illinois was in the top 4 in the Big Ten in defense, what would their record be? And I still maintain that it would be 5-1. So at that point, if you are what your record is, I don't necessarily understand, like, if Aaron Henry is kind of working his way through this season, he's not exactly holding Illinois back. He's just trying to get you through, October and November in the best he can with a secondary that's either ravaged by injuries or, there's been some downtick on some veteran players that have come back that they need to fundamentally figure out how to tackle. Matthew Bailey, Miles Scott, and some of the other Sabor Kareem, who's now getting an inexperienced guy who was almost a 4-star prospect. All those guys in that secondary need to figure out how to tackle, because if they do that against Ohio State, they're going to give their offense a chance.
I've got 30 seconds left. I got to get going.
Sorry.
Very, very quick question for you. Illinois, let's say they lose Saturday, but they run the table the rest of the way. 10-2, losses to Indiana, Ohio State. Are they a playoff team at that point?
I'll give you the answer that I gave on our boards because it was asked on Monday. It's not 100%, Larry, but it's certainly not 0. You know what I'm saying? And I could give you the Tony Kornheiser smart-ass response of it's 50-50. They'll either make it or they won't. Yeah. But what I'm telling you is that I had look, everybody was looking for this year's Indiana, right, from 2024. I had my misguidance about the idea that a 10-2 Indiana would have gotten in the playoff. They needed to go 11-1. So I think, is it a guarantee? No. But has Illinois put themselves in a really awesome position? If they're competitive on Saturday against Ohio State and then they run the table the rest of the way, they have better wins at 10-2 than Indiana had at 11-1 going into that. So they certainly will be in the discussion.
Yeah, that's fair. It's going to be interesting to see if they do go 10-2. Okay, we got to run. Matt Stevens, appreciate you. Illini guys, senior football writer and analyst. And again, it is 17th ranked Illinois at home against top ranked Ohio State. That's a noon kickoff as they get the Fox noon slots time for the second time in 3 weeks after beating USC a couple of weeks ago. Okay, we've got much more to come here on the Sports IQ.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation. 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. Or visit them at neonrain.com.
Major League Baseball playoffs continuing today, and we're getting closer now to figuring out who is in the League Championship Series. The producer Tony joining us now. Toronto had that lead last night and blew it. The Yankees come up, their bats come alive, and they stay alive as they take Game 3 and now Game 4 coming up later today. You have some concerns, you were saying in the break, about Toronto that are very valid about their pitching.
Yeah, I don't understand. I read that Toronto is going to go with a reliever game. and they're going to start the guy who gave up the big hit to Aaron Judge to get this game going. So I want to know why you're doing that, Toronto. I don't get it. All season long, you had at least a 5-man rotation. Some teams are up to like 6-man rotations. I think Toronto had enough spot starters to make a 6th guy in the rotation. So you mean to tell me that now in the playoffs, you can't go past a 3rd starter? I don't understand how that works. I know you want to keep somebody fresh in case you need for game 5. But in the meantime, you're going to run this bullpen game, and you're going to tire out your relievers, who, again, yesterday had to come in the 3rd inning to take over for Shane Bieber, who couldn't get out of the 3rd inning. So they just pitched 5.5 innings of work yesterday. Now they're going to be required to pitch all 9. God forbid that this game goes to extra innings.
Yeah.
You're going to run out of arms.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do in game 5 if your starter who you've chosen to make that can't go past the 3rd inning? Your bullpen is dog tired. You're setting yourself up for a major comeback by the Yankees to win this thing in 5 games. You have a chance to put them away. You don't do a bullpen game. You come with the best starter you have. Say, look, give me 4 to 5 innings. That's all I need. Don't need a lot. 4 to 5 innings. They're starting pitcher. They should be able to do at least that much.
Yeah. There's no question. Because, if the Yankees can come through tonight, then it's anything goes in game 5 back in Toronto, right? I mean, it's why leave the door open? In the other AL series, the Mariners can close things out today as they are at Detroit. Big win for them last night in game 3.
Yeah, the Mariners continue to look really strong. Love Cal Raleigh. Just absolutely love the season that this guy has had. He was, had some promise when he was coming up as a rookie, but everyone thought, catcher, Mariners, Cal Raleigh, he'll be okay. He, with the power that he is now supplying for that team, he's become the central cog of that offense. Having another strong postseason, it would be fun, I think, to see the Mariners in the ALCS. I would love to see them in the World Series. I think it'd be neat for the city. I think it'd be neat for those fans. They had some really good teams before. Remember when they had A-Rod and Griffey Jr. that could never get past? They set the record one year for winning the most games in the regular season and then flamed out in the playoffs. It would be nice for that fan base to be able to get to a World Series.
Yeah, that would be great. And back then, the stadium was new and there was excitement, and then they have done nothing since then. So, it'd be great to see them get through to the next round. In the National League, both teams can punch their tickets today. Milwaukee on the road, up 2-0 at Chicago. LA is at home, up 2-0 on the Phillies. Can the Cubs squeeze out a win at Wrigley? Can they get one today?
They might win. Yeah, they might win one tonight for pride. I don't think they can come back and win all 3. Yeah. I think the Brewers' pitching is too strong. The Brewers' bullpen is too good. They're not going to give up leads the way they have. The Phillies, on the other hand, that bullpen really let them down in one of the games against the Dodgers. The Dodgers' offense right now has been on fire throughout the playoffs, from the wild card now into this one. They're scoring a bunch of runs. Again, I still think I'm going to continue to harp on it until I see something different. There's an issue in that bullpen. Whenever they come in, you're really rolling dice as to what you can get out of them. And if you can get to the closer, which right now seems to be Sasaki, has become their main closer at this point.
Oh, he's been outstanding. What a boost to that bullpen. We've talked about, and you've talked about so many times, just how beleaguered that bullpen is. And then Milwaukee, what they have done recently, trying to reach their first World Series since 1982. But boy, they've just been a steady presence right there. 7th playoff appearance in 8 years, and trying to break through to the next round there. As we set right now, as we are discussing this right now, we don't have anybody who's punched their ticket to the LCS yet. Let's ask again, now that we're a couple of weeks since I asked you last time, who are your teams in the World Series as we stand right now? Who are you picking?
As it looks right now, I'm probably still going to go with the Brewers and the Mariners where it is now. My mid-season pick was the Tigers. I just don't see them getting it done anymore against the Brewers. There's a psyche wrong. The losing has infected their conscience. They were able to battle through the regular season and get past the wild card round and beat back Cleveland. I just don't know how much they have left in the tank mentally on that team. We'll just have to see. And I like the makeup of the Brewer team. I think at some point that Dodger bullpen is going to come up and bite them in the butt and cost them a series.
Yeah. That's fair. Can't argue with that. Okay, moment of awe. That's up next.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-373-8414. 800-373-8414. 800-373-8414. That's 800-373-8414.
Okay, time now for a moment of awe. And producer Tony just doing some yeoman's work here, finding this one. According to CBSSports.com, the team that loses their first game last in the season does not win the Super Bowl. Talking NFL here, of course. Over the last 18 years, the last undefeated team in the NFL has not won the Super Bowl. So this past Sunday, we saw the Eagles and the Bills become the last to fall from the ranks of the unbeaten. If that pattern holds, neither team will win the Super Bowl come February. Not make the Super Bowl. Neither team will win the Super Bowl. Truly a moment of awe and something to think about here as you continue on your Wednesday. Hey, we appreciate our guest, Matt Stevens of the UCLA broadcast team, Matt Stevens of Illini Guys, as well as Mike Kegley and Kevin Noon from BuckeyeHuddle.com. We appreciate you guys stopping in the show and making it just what it is. Hey, we had fun. Hope you did too. It's a Sports IQ. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at Sports IQ LS. We'll see you next time.